do you see down there?
It's barren land. It's just gray, just rocks, sand. There's nobody here. I'm all alone.
I want you to just look around you and tell me anything you notice close by or in the distance.
I can't see clearly.
Uh-huh. Why not?
It seems like just winds of color.
Tell me more about those winds of color.
They're like the northern lights.
What colors do you see in those winds?
There's white, purple, green, red. They're just swirling.
So they're moving.
Yes. Dancing.
And how do you feel about that as you watch them?
It's hypnotizing.
Right. Are they far from you or close to you, these colored winds?
It seems like both. Like I can't tell the size.
So how does the wind move?
Like back and forth, like a flag, but it's doing something.
What do you mean by that?
It's flowing. Like it's working.
Like with intent, is this what you mean?
Yes.
Interesting. All right. And how is that making you feel? That the wind is working? Curious?
Like I want to learn.
Yeah. Would you?
Yes.
And what would you do for that? What do you decide to do next if you want to learn about that wind?
I would make. I would create.
What? What would you create?
I don't know.
But how can you learn from the working wind?
I don't know. I want to talk to it. I want to communicate with it.
Yes, do that. See how you can communicate with it.
It's making the process of life and coordinating it, balancing it.
Did you get to communicate with it?
Yes.
How?
I spoke to it.
Out loud?
Yes. It tells me that everything has a reason. Everything must flow.
Interesting. Can we understand more about why it has to flow?
Yes. It has to progress. It has to move forward. And that allows everything else to flow.
How is the wind answering? Through what means?
Telepathic.
Wonderful. I'm so grateful it wants to talk to us. So please ask him what else it wants to share with us about this process of life and the flow and the movement. We want to learn and understand.
It's designing. We're standing on a blank canvas. And the winds are supposed to paint the planet with colors.
Mm.
It carves.
It carves. Mm-hmm.
And it makes, and then it grows.
Now, can you ask it why it needs to color the planet?
Yes. Because if it doesn't have color, it doesn't have distinction, there's never change. Life must change.
No, can you explain, please?
It means if life is uniform, there's no change.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
We must change.
Mm. May I ask why?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. So I want to know about this place, this planet that the wind is coloring. So the soil is gray, the pebbles are gray, there's nothing else, no landforms. Can the wind explain to us what is this place?
It's a planet. It's young. It's in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
We're to develop it, cultivate it.
Cultivate it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the wind, it gives it color
Yes.
and movement.
The wind is color.
Mm-hmm. The wind is color. Mm-hmm. And it has all those colors in it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can you see the end result of this coloring and dancing and swirling? Is anything accomplished so we can see the result?
Yes.
Tell me, what do you see?
Animals, vegetation,
Mm-hmm.
water,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Tell me about the colors of the vegetation.
It's green. It's deep green.
Deep green, like very healthy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How about the animals? What animals do you see?
Dinosaurs.
Oh, what kind of dinosaurs?
Long, big.
Mm-hmm. The ones with long necks?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What colors are they?
Dark, neutral colors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're just grazing. They're happy.
Mm-hmm. They're happy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Peaceful.
Mm. All right. So what is the wind doing now that it created the vegetation and the animals and the water?
Watching.
Watching?
It's analyzing
Mm. What?
the life.
Uh-huh. What is analyzing about it?
It's trying to figure out what it needs. How do I cultivate it further?
And what did it notice? What it needs?
Trials, hardships.
Mm. What's the purpose of that?
It needs to move.
And can it move without trials?
Not in that sense.
What sense?
It needs to move forward spiritually.
So the trials will help with that.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It'll do the same thing every day. If it does the same thing every day, it has the same experience. So there's no movement.
Uniformity doesn't bring change.
Yes.
So what happens next? Let's see what happens now that the trials are decided to be needed. What does the wind do?
The wind removes the vegetation and it becomes hungry.
Who does?
The animals.
Uh-huh. It removed vegetation, you said?
It allowed it to die.
Uh-huh.
And the animals have to find food
Uh-huh.
so that it can continue.
Mm-hmm. What do they need to do to find food?
Travel.
Mm-hmm.
Walk.
Mm.
Why?
Mm-hmm. So this is necessary for them?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. But this isn't hardship for the animals to travel to find food?
This is hardship.
Mm-hmm.
They had everything.
They did?
Everything to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that was needed. Now they don't have it.
Mm-hmm. So that creates movement, the lack of food. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that's missing?
It needs to loop.
Tell me more about that loop.
And it needs to have something that will introduce another trial and loops the progression.
What's the purpose of looping the progression?
So it could survive and live and progress on its own.
Mm-hmm. So to keep on going on its own without the intervention from the outside, is this what you're telling me?
Yes, we are just the catalyst.
Uh-huh. You said we are just the catalyst. Is this what you said?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when you said we, who did you refer to?
We. The Creator.
Can you tell me more about yourselves, please?
I don't know.
All right, then tell me about yourself.
I create.
How you create.
Form.
You create form?
Life. Science. We study our creations.
Oh, interesting.
Like it's new to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
That we're learning in the process. And that's our loop.
Mm-hmm. That's your loop.
Yes.
Of creating and learning at the same time.
Correct.
What is the most important thing you've learned in this work?
It's fragile. Life is fragile.
Mm-hmm.
The spirits are fragile. They hold the hardships. They must be balanced. The hardships must be balanced according to the spirit. If it's too hard, the spirit digresses, moves backwards.
Interesting. And if it's too little?
Then there's no progress.
Uh-huh. So who knows how to balance the hardship?
Who knows? I don't
So you're not in charge of the balancing the hardship?
know.
You only introduced them.
Yes.
But you said this organism you created here has to be ongoing on its own.
Yes. And it has its own path.
Oh. Can you predict what the path is going to be?
Yes. We only predict based off of the information we've gathered on this planet.
The one you're creating right now.
It's going to have an end.
Why?
Everything seems to have an end. Everything has an end. That will end.
How far the end?
Oh, long time.
And what the end would be?
Back to its original state.
Like what? The barren land?
Yes.
The one we saw in the beginning? And how would that happen?
Like all the other planets.
Tell me.
Never found the balance. It was never able to just perpetuate itself. It was us. We couldn't find the balance.
You couldn't find the balance?
No.
And this organism you created, this life on this planet, couldn't find balance either.
Yes.
This is what you learned from creating life on other planets, and they couldn't find balance.
No.
So this is, in a way, inevitable?
Yes.
It happens always.
Yes.
Do you consider to have extensive experience in creating those kind of systems? And
no. Very little.
How about the others that are creating with you? Have they seen more than what you saw?
Yes.
Can you ask them if there were other potentialities instead of going through the imbalance of the hardship and end?
Yes.
How were they evolving?
Externally, they move outwards. In the same way the bacteria or virus seeks to travel through the air, life seeks to travel through the space.
What does that mean?
It means that everything, there's a bigger balance that resides inside a space, that as if we're still part of another creator.
You mean bigger than the planets when you say space, the space that contains them?
Yes.
I want you to focus a little bit on yourself and tell me how you perceive yourself on this barren, it was barren land.
Yes. That I'm just energy.
If you were to describe yourself as energy, how would you do that?
I'm just light.
What color?
The white light, the winds outside are the colors. It's the different spectrums that I apply.
Are you any similar or in any way similar to the wind at all?
No, it's just a movement.
The wind is the movement.
I'm the light that moves like the wind.
All right, and when you move, what happens?
I give it color.
You give it color?
It's like painting.
Isn't that beautiful? All right. And do you have a shape?
No. I morph shapes. Not into anything specific. I just change. I'm not just a single shape.
What is your role or your job versus the wind, so I can understand better exactly what you do?
We're one and the same.
Now, I want you to float above the scene, leaving it behind, and let's move forward. As energy for him to see today. Why did you pick that existence in particular? What did you want him to know or understand from it?
He's creative.
He is creative.
He must continue to be creative. And always be true to himself.
Can you explain to him why he must continue to be creative?
That continues the loop.
Is he in the loop we learned about of moving and creating, moving and creating?
Yes.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. And what does that have to do with his current circumstances in the current life?
He can't be stopped. Can't be held down. He needs to just create.
You said he cannot be stopped from creating, but what is the role of the movement in creating? Is there a connection between the movement and the creation?
Yes. Creation creates new scenarios, new experiences. So if you continue to create, you continue the progress of life. If you stop, life stops.
That's very beautiful. Very beautiful. Thank you so much for explaining it.